Welcome to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Roling. Do you believe you are capable of choosing your future? Sometimes it takes just one person to believe in you, for you to believe in yourself. If you find yourself continuing to say, someday I will take better care of myself, only to continue living the same day over and over and over again, then you, my friend, are in the right place. I am your biggest cheerleader, inspiring you to become you on purpose and with intention. Are you ready to create a life you love? I'm excited to share with you some big ideas that you can use today to inspire, impact, and influence your life and everyone in it. The Becoming You show starts now. Hello, my friends. How are you? I am so good. I got the kids off to school on Monday, and actually Tuesday, and I am slowly transitioning into my new schedule. And I am so proud of myself because usually I would have all of these overly ambitious goals and to-dos the week the kids go back to school. And then by the end of the week, I'm exhausted and frustrated. So I am giving myself until September to develop my routines and practices without the feeling like I have to complete an entire 3 months of summer to-dos in 1 week. So if you have kids that are going back to school and you operate like I do, I hope that you'll give yourself some grace and some patience to allow yourself to step into September, into the new transition instead of sprinting. And on the other side of that conversation is what I want to talk to you about today. I coach a lot on this subject, and it is a fascinating one to study as it is much more complex than simply delay in the doing. Yes, we are talking about procrastination today. So to give context to the ideas that I'm going to share with you today, I want you to think about one thing that you have been procrastinating on. Is it hiring that trainer? Is it looking for another job? Is it writing that book? Is it starting that podcast? Is it finishing your taxes? Is it going to the gym? Having that difficult conversation? Taking that course? Posting that video? Quitting your job? Starting that business? Whatever it is, I want you to know that you have a very, 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 very good reason for not doing it. And this is what I want to talk to you about today. It's way more complicated than not feeling like it, than not wanting to, than not being motivated to. So let's dive in. Understanding why you procrastinate is critical if you want to figure out how to stop doing it. So when you need to get something done, we rely a lot on our willpower. We rely a lot on our self-control in order to will ourselves to do it. And if you think about it, willpower is doing something you don't feel like doing, and self-control relates in particular to one's emotions and one's behaviors. Now, both of these things have one thing in common: emotions, feelings. It's why I talk about them in almost every podcast, every show I do, because emotions fuel how we show up and what we do. And they also fuel, my beautiful friends, what we don't do. So let's look at the emotions that are leaving us procrastinating, i.e. not taking action, i.e. not doing that thing that at the very beginning of the show we're not doing, okay? So here are some of the emotions that we operate from: overwhelm, anxiety, fear of failure, exhaustion, doubt. All of these emotions, they halt our motivation. They halt our will. They halt our self-control. And knowing this is everything, because if you want to stop procrastinating and you want to start making progress on your goals, you have to realize where these emotions are coming from. Now, if you know what I teach, you know that these emotions are all coming from your thoughts. So let's break down a few of these thoughts that we have as it relates to procrastination. I got 10 of them for you today. And so I'm super excited, and I'm hoping that one or more of these 10 thoughts will give you like this, aha, yep, that's the thought that I think. And that is for sure why I have stopped wanting and pursuing and bringing up will and self-control to do that thing that I want to do. Okay. So here's the first thing: goals that are not clearly defined. Did you know that your goals are just thoughts about what you want to work on? So if your goals are not clearly defined, if they're ambiguous, you will no doubt feel uncertain and doubtful. For example, if your goals, right, are to eat better, to get fit, to start exercising, to start that book, the vagueness alone of that will lead to procrastination. The brain wants to know how you're going to eat better. It wants to know how you're going to get fit, how you're going to start exercising, how you're going to start that book. And it also kind of wants to know the why. So a more clearly defined goal might look like this: I'm going to run 2 miles on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'm going to do 150 reps. And those 150 reps are going to look like this: 50 squats, 50 crunches, 50 push-ups, so that I can have energy and keep up with my boys. And I'm going to do this for 30 days and see how I feel. Do you see the difference? And I know this seems common sense, but think about the goals you have. Are they specific, or are they random? Are they vague? And no judgment, just awareness. Can you better clearly define them with deadlines if possible? The other thing that I quickly about goals, at least initially, is don't make them too hard. When we do that, we don't start because the likelihood of success is improbable. Now, you know that I want you to have huge goals, even unrealistic goals, goals that will no doubt create some disappointment and some failing opportunities. But we have to develop a tolerance first, a failure tolerance, a disappointment tolerance. And if you are new to this work, let's first start with doing what you say you're going to do, as it is clearly defined and within your capabilities. Okay, and then we can expand your capabilities in a way that you can't even possibly imagine or know yet. Okay, number 2, future wins. Let's face it, humans like immediate gratification. We want what we want, and we want it now. And we have our primitive brains to think for that. We procrastinate on tasks when there is no immediate win. We discount the value of anything too far into the future. In the field of psychology, it's called temporal discounting. We do this all of the time. Think about it. You reach for that cookie unconsciously. That is a now win. You decide that you will watch one more episode of your favorite Netflix show instead of going to bed. That is a now win. You decide that you will work out tomorrow instead of right now. That is a now win. We take action on what will give us that quick hit, that now hit of dopamine, that quick win now. And we make it harder for our future self. When left to our primitive brain to decide, we will always choose now. That is why we have to be the boss of our brain. This is why we have to do this work. And we have to direct it to, what would my future me want? How could I hook her up so that it isn't so hard for her, for me, when I get there? Can we stop procrastinating in his or hers honor? Number 3, future focused. Now, I love to think about my future, but I think sometimes people procrastinate because they believe that there will be a better time, a time that they might have more energy. They might have more money. They might have more connections or more of whatever it is that they think that they will need later. And so we avoid taking action because we believe that there will be a better time, a better experience. For example, this summer, I stopped going to my gym because I wanted to be home with my kids and to help and support them and navigate their crazy full summer schedule. And my getting to the gym and me supporting him in that just never aligned. So I will tell you, my brain offered me all sorts of crap, like, Leah, just take this summer off. Or, you know what? You don't really do your workout as intensely as you do when you go to the gym. And you know what? You don't really even have the right equipment, and you don't have that community, and it really won't matter. I mean, you're doing your little workout isn't going to progress your goals. So why bother? Yes, my brain is a big fat liar. It offered me that I should just procrastinate, not take action, not work out at all, and wait until September when the kids went back to school. And if we're not careful, it can lead to long-term procrastination by kicking it to the future more. Envision September coming along, it's coming along, and my brain saying, well, you know what? Why don't you just start in the new year? It's not too far away. And then you can start fresh with a brand new year. Seriously, I know it sounds ridiculous, but this is what my brain will offer me. And if I am not careful, I might just listen. Number 4, your outlook. Is it optimistic? Is it pessimistic? And friends, I see procrastination from both of these mindsets. Yes, we are still in thought land, guys. If we are overly optimistic, we might underestimate the time it will take. We might also have a false view that it will be better tomorrow, and that I might be more motivated to do it tomorrow, and I will want to do it. And we wait and wait and wait, believing the wanting to is a prerequisite for doing it. And similarly, a pessimistic take on a task might be one of, why bother? I most likely won't be successful at it. And I've tried in the past and it doesn't work and nothing works. And I'm just remiss to just settling and placating and giving up. And we believe that what has happened in the past is indicative of what can happen in the future. So we don't even try, failing ahead of time. And more on that in a little bit. But do you see how we do that? Regardless of whether or not we have this optimistic view, right? That'll be better tomorrow. And so we wait and we wait and we wait. Or we have this pessimistic view that none of it will matter. And so we just don't do it. Number 5, I don't know, is a thought which creates a ton of uncertainty and a ton of indecisiveness. We procrastinate because we are unable to make decisions in a timely manner. We can't decide which action to take. We either overanalyze or we indulge in the confusion. Both will have us stalling out. What if there was no such thing as a bad decision? Rather, the one you make and then you make right by it. And I promise you, if you're making decisions from abundance rather than lack, I truly believe that I don't believe that there is a bad decision. When we get clear about who we are and what we value, these become a litmus test to making the decisions in our life. And did you know you could make a decision based on what you want? Not about what everyone else might think or want. And I think so many times we are wish-washy with our wants because we want to be pleasing of what other people want, as if they're mutually exclusive. So again, did you know that you could just want what you want unapologetically and be understanding and be allowing to what other people want? And let's just allow them to want what they want. But when we want to be confused by a decision, or when we want to have some self-doubt about a decision because other people think it's a wrong decision or other people might do it differently, it creates doubt. And doubt will no doubt bring about delay, inaction, and indecision, because indecision is a decision that leaves us procrastinating on our goals, on our wants. Okay? Number 6, there is so much to do. I coach so many people that are in so much overwhelm because there's so much to do, as if that's a fact. You guys, we're still in thought land. There is so much to do is not a fact. It's still just a thought, which creates a ton of overwhelm for people. And people sometimes procrastinate because they feel overwhelmed with regard to all the things that need to be done. Or sometimes I think that they become overwhelmed with just a singular task that feels so huge in terms of the resources that are required for completion. People get this way when it comes to decluttering their physical space. They are overwhelmed with all of the stuff and how did they acquire all of the stuff and what to do with all of the stuff. And the overwhelm can quickly turn into shame about it. But friends, your stuff, all of it, it's neutral. Please do not shame yourself for the acquisition of it. And when we're overwhelmed by it, break it into spaces, rooms, or time. And again, if you want help decluttering, I want you to get on the wait list for our upcoming mastermind and group coaching on this, because we're going to break all of this down. The physical stuff that paralyzes us and drains our energy and steals our time and money, we will get to that. And we will also be clearing some of the more damaging clutters, the ones that really wreak havoc on our goals and our energy and our sense of aliveness and well-being. We are cleaning up our relationships, our habits, our time, our overwhelm, our anxiety, our busy, and our scarcity. We're going to have a clearing and cleaning party, and I would love to have you there. So if you want support on any of these areas of your life, whether it's relationships or making forward progress in your goals or quitting that job or starting that new business, I would love to have you in this group. So just pop over to my website, www.leahroling.com, and put your name and your email on there and you'll get on our wait list. And as soon as we have more information, which should be in the next couple of weeks, we'll be sending out an email with all of the details, the what, the who, the why, the how, and all of it, so that you can make a better decision for you and for your life and what you want to have become of it for the rest of the year and into next year. Number 7, why we procrastinate is because of our scarcity thinking. And scarcity thinking looks like lack. It looks like not enough. It looks like it's not fair, or it's too hard, or it's all on me, or I'm tired of it. If you have heard yourself say these things, and you guys, if I had $1 over the last couple of months for every coaching client that I have that offered me one of these thoughts, it's too hard, or I'm tired of it all on me. It's all on my shoulders. I'm exhausted. It's not fair. Okay? Any of these scarcity thoughts, I want you to listen. Scarcity thinking creates procrastination, because scarcity thinking creates anxiety and depression and exhaust and shame and a bunch of shooting on ourselves. And when we feel anxious about a task, we most likely aren't going to do it. We will avoid it. And maybe that's making a decision that you worry people won't like, or maybe it's not checking your bills and or your statement balance, thinking that avoiding it will make the problem go away. Or maybe it's avoiding that difficult conversation with that person that you know you need to have, because every day it eats and eats and eats at you. And when this happens, any of these scarcity thinking about any of the areas of our life that really truly matter, it creates this scarcity loop. And we become so anxious that we're anxious. And then we judge ourselves for being anxious. And instead of just allowing some anxiety as part of the human experience, we should on ourselves. And it creates more of the debilitating emotion. And when you allow for your emotions instead of thinking that you shouldn't feel them, that they're actually not even all of that scary. And when you know how to feel your emotions and get out of scarcity and into abundance, it's way easier to take action on that thing you want. It's way easier to make decisions on what you want in your life. It's way easier to show up in your life in love and in compassion and in joy for your day and for your life. Number 8, perfectionism is a thought that something or someone needs to be perfect. And people sometimes procrastinate because of their perfectionism. Perfectionism can also lead to procrastination in a number of ways, such as by making someone so afraid of making a mistake that they end up not taking action at all, or being so worried about putting something out there without any flaws that they end up reworking their project indefinitely instead of releasing it imperfectly. Perfectionism is a worry created by our thinking that we might fail, that it might not be perfect. And when this worry reveals itself as doubt, we can sometimes not take action at all and fail ahead of time. For example, someone might delay working on their book because they want every line that they write down to be perfect from the start, which causes them to not write anything at all. And similarly, someone who has finished writing their book might repeatedly delay sending it out for feedback because they want to make sure that it's absolutely flawless first. So they keep going it over again and again and again. And it's interesting to think that most of the time our perfectionistic tendencies is just validation seeking. If they think that we did something that was perfect, then we could give ourselves permission to believe in ourselves. And when we do that, we equate perfection to worth. And we forget that those two do not equate. Quite the opposite. Perfection is mostly unattainable. That's a debate for another time, of course, but worth, innate, absolute. They don't even equate to each other. And so oftentimes we try to create a formula that just isn't a thing. Number 9, fear of social judgment. Lots of people procrastinate because we're so worried and afraid of being judged by other people and what they might think about us. And again, this goes with what I had just said before about perfectionistic tendencies, as if we need their permission and others to validate our worth. And I see this happen so many times. We procrastinate posting something on social because we're afraid that what people might think about it or how people might comment about it. And we project in our mind what all the people might think about. And what I want us to remember is that other people's opinion of us says more about them than about us. And when we let our mind go into all of the people, who are all of the people? Usually when I do this exercise with my clients, it might be like 1 or 2 or 3 people at most. And we really think about these 2 people or these 3 people and their feedback, our judgment is assumed. We imagine what they might think. And what I find most often is that it's an assumption, but it comes from our own judgment of self. So we got to clean that up first. And I promise you, when you do the work and you clean that up for yourself, it won't matter what anyone says about you. Okay? Last one, fear of failure. People often procrastinate because they're afraid of failing. It kind of sums up all of the other 9 at the tasks they need to complete. This fear of failure can promote procrastination in various ways, such as causing people to avoid finishing a task or by causing them to avoid getting started on a task in the first place. And certainly personality traits such as low self-esteem and low confidence are associated with an increased fear of failure, which makes people who have these traits more likely to procrastinate. But that's the work that we're doing here. That's the work that we're doing by listening to podcasts like this that encourage us to discover our own sense of self and our own sense of worth. All righty, my friends, I want you to recognize which of these 10 thoughts is at the basis for your procrastinating ways. And I want you to get whatever help or whatever support you need to clean them up, to get coaching, to seek out a mentor, to book one of my strategy calls. I would love to hear from you, and I'd love to know what you're doing so we can clean it up and shift your consciousness so that you can start putting the work that you know you want to do into the world, because it will have a ripple effect on not only your life, but on everybody else's life. The self-mastery work that we do within ourselves is the social impact that we have in the world. And it is required. It's our responsibility to do it. So I hope thinking through these thoughts have served you in taking action. I hope that you can identify one of these 10 thoughts that might be keeping you stuck in your progress, and can you work through them? And again, if you need help or support on this, I got you. So go make it happen today, even if it's just a little baby step. I can't wait to see what progress you will make. Have an amazing one, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Roling, where I share big ideas to inspire, impact, and influence your life. Tune in every Friday at 11 Central on TransformationTalkRadio.com for your morning cup of coffee, the hug you never want to end, and that inspirational message that you felt was written just for you. Each show is inspiring you to become you with purpose and intention. For more information or to connect with me, visit www.leahroling.com.